Hello, 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 everyone. My name is Diamond Rivera of Diamond Rivera Films. And today we are going to have an amazing, amazing interview. This interview here has definitely been heavily anticipated for me, especially throughout my life. I've really strived to bring something back to our dance community and realizing that I have this moment and this platform to be able to bring someone on here that truly for me is not only an inspiration, a mentor. For me, she's a pioneer of our culture, of our community. Um, and for me, being able to have this moment or this time to speak with her, to kind of pick her brain, understand, what we're about to do is going to be great. We are going to have the chance to talk to Griselle Ponce. I'm just giving her a few moments just to get ready. But yes, people, tonight we are going to have a very special discussion interview with Griselle Ponce, one of the most fiercest women in our dance community, our Latin dance community, realizing how much she has brought to our dance scene, how many women, how many not even just women but dancers she's inspired, how many lives she has touched. It truly, truly is a wonderful feeling knowing that you can, reach somebody to that magnitude. And I can definitely give all the praise, but Griselle is here with us now, and I do want to bring on the one and only Griselle Ponce is in the house, people. Yes. Is
Hello,
your
everybody. How are you
yes, we can.
doing today?
Yes,
I'm
yes,
so
yes.
excited.
Definitely. Honestly, yeah, just before you came on again, I was
Can you
just
hear me?
letting the yes, I can hear you. Are you able to hear me? Are you able to hear me?
Yes, I
All
can.
right. Perfect. And
Yes.
just before you came on, I was able just to let the audience know how special this is and how needed this is. Because again, Grisel, before we even get into it, just to let you know how much you mean to me, how much your legacy over time has influenced dancers like myself, because we can just see your classes and we can learn from it. And usually at events, we kind of say hi and bye, but to be able to have this moment of just giving you your flowers, appreciating the work you've done from the past, the present, and the future. For me, this is a long time coming,
Thank
and just
you.
absolutely. And just to let you know, throughout the interview, we're gonna also have comments posted. Like already, we have Mike Bayo, the one
Hi,
and only.
Mike.
Yes,
Yes, my
yes,
mambo dad.
yes, and again, this interview here, it's not just a discussion, it's just kind of reminiscing about what you've done for people who don't know, for people who do know. I mean, for me, even today, I was looking up YouTube videos, and we're going to take it back. I'm talking about to the acapella routine, the Oyelo
Yes.
routine. So this is stuff I remember. So, I mean, just, today is going to be awesome. But again, Grisel, thank you again for coming on this platform and be able to share your story.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited. I'm really happy to be here and to be able to share. Often, I'm getting a lot of calls and a lot of requests for interviews. And in these times of pandemic, if we can't connect about dancing, then let's connect with talking and let's, I appreciate being able to share my story with everyone
Mhm.
here because you only know the glitter and the costumes and you only know the beautiful parts of our career, at least from the surface, from what it looks like, right? And
Mhm.
so when we get to talk uh, like this, one on one, or one in how many are
Yeah.
watching, then we're able to show a little bit of our journey. And
Hmm.
I think whether it is a struggling journey or not, I think it should be inspiring because it inspires me when I hear other people's journeys as well. It should be inspiring, and so I'm glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
No, absolutely. And for me, before we really start from the heart of the story, to also realize that how many people that have come in and out of your teaching classes, the people you've met over the years, and to realize that you're still doing it. And even with COVID going around, you're still teaching your classes, you're still having people really support you. It means a lot. And for me, many of the dances I always do is from when we start, we really kind of go to the beginnings. Because again, like you said, they just know you from the glitz and the glamour and the costumes. But I think people get a better sense of reality and understand the human behind just the dancing. So I would definitely love for you to kind of take us to the back, more to the beginnings of what started your dancing and right before we get to Caribbean soul, because there's a lot there to unpack, but the floor is yours.
So I must tell you, my beginnings actually begin with Caribbean soul.
Hmm.
I'll explain to you. So for me, my dream and aspirations have always been uh, everything other than dance. Right? Since I was a younger, I wanted to be an actress. I wanted to be a TV host, and that's it. Dancing was not in my agenda.
Hmm.
However, I had a my own dance team when I was just about 9 years old, and I did talent shows, imitating singers and everything. But dancing was always in me, but was never that I guess that mindset or focus or something I saw my vision, right? It was
Hmm.
never in my vision. It was something I love to do, but it was not like what I'm thinking I'm going to do in the future. And I lived in Puerto Rico, all throughout until I was 13 years old. And when I was about 12 years old, with my brother and I had a talk, and we said, "Mom, there's nothing else for us here, and we want to move." And like us Puerto Ricans say, no, queremos ir para allá afuera. Para allá afuera could
Yeah.
mean anything, anywhere it could be, but for us, it's like para allá afuera is New York.
Yeah.
Um, and so my mom was totally understanding, and she said, you know what? She packed up her life, her house, and she told her husband, "We're leaving." So she contacted, my mom also grew up in New Jersey, but she was born in Puerto Rico, but she grew up in New Jersey. So she already knew her way around here. So we
Hmm.
contacted my family and we moved. When I got here, again, my dreams were I used to sit as a little girl, I used to sit in front of the TV and say, I'm going to be there one day.
Hmm.
I'm going to be there one day. And to tell you, to be honest, I used to get into fights with my brother because he wanted to watch cartoons
Yeah.
and I wanted to watch the show that I wanted to be in. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I'm like, no, I don't want to see this. I just had this burning. I know now that it's a burning desire that of what I wanted. That my focus was only there. And interestingly enough, um, we moved here. I know, first of all, no English. I
Mm.
only speak Spanish. That's right. I only speak Spanish. If I knew the song Ventana, Window, Puerta, Door, Maestra, Teacher,
Hmm.
I probably knew it wrong, to be honest. Like I knew
Wow.
zero English. And, we moved here into this huge in this world, right? Because it's
Hmm.
totally different from Puerto Rico, and I first get culture shock with my family. Forget the world out there. My culture shock was within my own family. I go into my family's house and I don't comprehend how things operate because, to be honest, we grow up in Puerto Rico. I grew up with my bare feet running down the street, going to my vecina and saying, vecina, mira, dame una tacita de café,
Yeah.
un poquito de azúcar. And here was so different because here you barely even know your neighbors. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Here is like for such a long time, I was living in this home and I only knew my uncle and my cousins and my aunt and whoever they brought into the home, but I knew not my neighbors, the people I
Hmm.
walked by every day. I didn't know how can I say, even greet them because I didn't speak the language, right? So that was my first initial culture shock, right, coming from Puerto Rico. And to be honest, I think it's what built me, what made me so hungry to learn the language. And within 6 months, I was already communicating,
Hmm.
communicating street talk, no intellectual talk, no conversation that anything I had to read, I didn't understand, for example, but I
Yeah.
had street conversation. I can indeed, communicate with the next person. Hi, bye. Of course, we all learn our bad words first.
Yeah.
But we learn our bad words, but I was not focused on those. I was focused on learning.
Yeah.
And today it's been 25 plus years that
Hmm.
I'm here in the United States, and I'm happy that you know that I wanted that so bad because I was able to learn the language. I was able to then instantly start looking for my dreams, right? Start visioning like where I'm going and etc. Right? So
Yeah.
Julissa says my English
Yeah.
is not very good looking. It's still not very good looking, but that's okay. But you know what? Going back to my dreams, and so
Hmm.
I wanted to be on television so bad. I had no resources. I knew nobody, but my mom immediately put me in modeling school. She
Hmm.
put me. There was a pageant here, Puerto Rico Miss Puerto Rico pageant, and she enrolled me, and through there, I started getting my own network of people, right? So my
Hmm.
network of people was, um, my peers, the people competing with me. And so the beautiful thing was that now I'm starting to meet the world
Hmm. Yeah.
differently, right? Because now I know different people. I don't just know my family. I don't just know, my schoolmates, but now I start meeting
Hmm.
the world. I I'm in the pageant. I'm in the beauty pageant. I won the pageant, so I won the talent show. The Miss Photogenic one is the only one I did not win, but I won the traje típico. Like I won all the categories in
Yeah.
that pageant, and that opened up so many doors for me because they invited me. They invited me to every parade you could imagine. They invited me to events where officials were in,
Hmm.
and that's where I started seeing bigger. There's more for me here. You know,
Yes.
and so I immediately, I kept dreaming. Let's just say because I didn't know where to look, I didn't know what to do. I
Hmm.
kept dreaming, and from one event that I did, I was invited to do a music video. Um, at the time, let's go back. I am 15 years old. I'm invited to do this music video, 15 going on to 16, I believe. And I said, okay, of course, who doesn't want to do a music video at that age, right? Like,
Yeah.
yes, I'm going to do a music video. There was no Instagram, there was no YouTube, there was no Facebook,
Hmm.
possibly MySpace, and I wasn't in it. And so I said yes. I go to the music video, and ironically, the music video was La Tanguita Roja de Oro Sol.
Wow.
So wait, don't wow yet, right? So I get there, and I knew what I was getting into because I knew it was the whole Tanguita Roja. They told me to bring a red bathing suit. So I brought a red
Mm.
bathing suit. I did not bring a red tanga. There's nothing in me, like inside of me or my
Yes.
brain, that allows me to do it. There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah,
I
yeah, but
think,
just you as
I
a person.
for me to do it, I just still to today can't do it, right? Even
Yeah.
as an adult, well, as a grown woman, let's say,
Yeah.
right? And so I get there. I am simply, I'm nervous. I'm there, and they ask me, put on your bathing suit. I put it on there like, you don't have a tanquita, I said, and I'm not
Okay.
wearing one.
Yeah.
And I put my foot on the ground and I said,
Hmm.
I'm sorry, I'm not wearing one. I don't feel comfortable. And so if you want me to be a part of it, I will do, with my bathing suit. Otherwise, then I'm okay with not doing
Yeah.
it. And those values were instilled in me from growing up in Puerto Rico. I'm not saying that you can't have that from growing up here, but I knew that those values were instilled in me from my mom, my parents, my family, and I know where that comes from. There was a producer there who happened to produce a TV show on Telemundo. He happened to be there directing also this
Hmm.
music video, and he saw what I did. I put my foot on the ground. I said, I'm sorry, I can't do this."
Yeah.
And I think he was attracted to that. I think he was attracted to that, and he offered me to come to audition for this TV show. This TV
Mm.
show that was in the beginning stages of it, where it was on Telemundo with Luis Jimenez, Odalis Molina, and I went to audition. Now, I auditioned for one segment only. They wanted me to be the McDonald's segment, which was probably seconds, right? Like maybe like a minute.
Yeah.
And I was the Vanna White. When it
Oh
came
my.
to this, I was Vanna White, right?
Oh
Griselle
yeah.
Ponce, la Boricua.
Yes.
And that was my segment. When my year came to either renew or that my contract finished, they asked me to be part of the show. And here I am, 16 years old, and I'm already living my dream. I
Yeah.
don't speak the language. I'm in a whole unknown world. And I, until not long ago, didn't realize how powerful, my vision was, how powerful it was what I wanted. And it came to me. But you take it for granted while you have it. For example, I'm like,
Hmm.
oh, yes, I work on TV. Oh, yes, this is great. This is beautiful. But I didn't understand, how much I wanted this. I knew how much I wanted it, but I didn't understand it then. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So kind of bring you forward a
Hmm.
little bit. So I was a Spanish television celebrity in here. The show aired tri-state, New York, New Jersey, Connecticut, and with amazing stars. Every single artist you can imagine, from Celia Cruz, may she rest in peace, and every single artist you can imagine had to go through the show because this was the mini version of Sábado Gigante.
Gosh.
If to kind of give you an idea, it was a variety show. It aired every Saturday. Now, I'm a teenager going to school that works on television.
Wait,
At
you
the
were
same
15,
time,
16 years old at this time. Wow,
yes,
that's
I
even
am.
more. Wow.
I was 16 years old working on the TV show, and I didn't look 16.
You look
There were,
much older for your age. Yes,
yeah,
I know what you
at the
mean.
time, I guess body type and everything was if- what they wanted, and so I dressed to the part. But I was 16. I was going to high school. I went to Eastside High School here in Newark,
Hmm.
and I was the girl from the TV. So I went through a lot of stuff when it came to that, as well. There was
Mm.
um, I all my life I've encountered. Um, I hate to call it hate, right? I dislike to call it hate, but it's this sort of envy, and I don't mean I'm not better or I'm not better than anyone to be envied, but how I live my life and how my family, embedded all these values. I've always kind of went through that with other girls, you
Hmm.
know, in school. Um, so when I moved here, and now I'm in. When I moved here, first of all, I they used to hate me because I had the pants, the color pants. I used to have one different color every day. So I have navy
Mm.
blue pants, burgundy pants. This is the era of the '90s with the big
Yes.
boobs, the burgundy lips, real, real like pronounced,
Yeah.
and yeah, my hair with bangs. And so, but I had my mom. She always sent me to school looking sharp.
Hmm.
So I used to get it all the time. The girls wanted to fight me. The girls wanted to. And then now I go to high school. Now I'm in high school, and now I'm working on television. So this is coming from everywhere you can imagine.
Yes.
So I have a gig to go interview a beauty pageant.
Hmm.
Now it's getting into the dance part of it, right?
Yeah.
So let me tell you, while I was in the show, I was doing dancing as well, right? But I had
Mhm.
never taken lessons before. Every time the bands came on, I was one of the side dancers,
Yeah.
etc. Right? I never taken dance lessons in my life. In fact, um, in school we did Bombay Plena, but
Hmm.
I didn't consider it like lesson because I didn't go to dance school. So now I get invited. I'm about to go interview this beauty pageant, part of my job for Telemundo. I go there and doing my work, and I look across the room and I see this gentleman, um, this guy, right? Let's not call him a gentleman. At that time, he was this guy, right? And he is doing spins, right? And all I see him doing turns, and I'm so curious. I'm like, I still spoke very, very little English, right? And I'm looking at him, and so I go. I was curious. My mom was with me because I needed a chaperone. I'm
Mm,
underage.
yes, you're still at that age. Yeah.
Yes. So I go over there and I'm super curious, and I say, hi, what are you doing? Right? And so it happens to be el maestro, mi maestro, Ismael Otero. Happened
Wow.
to be there, and he was spinning and spinning. And I asked him, and he says, oh, I'm teaching my salsa class. It was his first class ever taught by himself. That was
Wow.
his opening day. And so I'm like, he asked me, do you dance? And I said, yeah, of course I dance, right?
I dance at home, but I'm not like classically
Yes,
trained, but I dance. Yes, absolutely.
right. But yes, I dance. And he looked at my mother and he went, like, okay, everybody says they dance, blah, 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 right? And so we start dancing. He put salsa. I don't know anything about on one, on two. I
Uh-huh.
don't really know much about genres like cha cha cha, boogaloo, pachanga. I don't know any
Hmm.
of that. I just know salsa, right? And he stops. He says, hey, you got rhythm. You can dance." And my mom said, "Yes, I taught her." Right? Super proud. My mama said I taught her. So this moment and this moment that I'm going to tell you right now, and I share
Hmm.
it every single time, was the one that I guess changed everything, although there was no follow up. So I'm going to get to
Hmm.
what I mean.
No, absolutely.
Ismael grabbed me by my hands and looked me in the eyes, and he says, I'm going to make you into a mambo queen. This
Mm.
moment, first of all, I have no idea what that means, right? I don't know what that means. I know what queen means, but mambo queen, I don't know what he means.
Hmm.
I guess Ismail had vision that obviously I didn't have. Remember, dancing is not part of my long term, it's
Yeah.
not even part of my idea of my future,
Yeah.
right? I just love dance. And my family has this, we have a lot of music, background, which we'll get to, but it wasn't part of my idea. So here we are. This happens. Now I'm like eager. I want to learn, but we're in two different towns, far. I'm young. My mom cannot take me to these classes, so I never got to take a class. Can you
Mm.
believe this? I never got to the opportunity to take a class with Ismail, right? So fast forward, I can't even tell you how long it took, but I
Hmm.
want to say it was within the same year or within 6 to 8 months.
Yeah.
I get a call. So Frankie Negron was part of the circuit of the pageant that I was doing because we live in the same town. Frankie Negron lived in Newark. He used to sing the national anthem, for the pageant and all the events that we were part of.
Hmm.
And he was not yet the Frankie Negron that you know today.
Wow. Yeah, because
He
I
was
remember I
just a
seen him
kid.
on. I remember he was on Boricua's Bond. That was one of my first like, who is this guy? And then seeing his
Yeah.
music. So yeah.
So yeah, he was just, an aspiring singer, super talented. And at the time, the vice president of the Puerto Rican Day Parade that ran, that was part of it when I won, his name is Bucci Nieves. He happened to start being Frankie's manager. And he got his career off the floor. So on one of the trips I won to Puerto Rico, I told Frankie, I said, you got to promise me, because remember, I'm still thinking I want to be a model, an actress, a movie star, right? And
Yeah.
I said, you have to promise me when you get your first album, I want to be the model on the cover of your CD.
Mm.
That was my aspirations when it came to that, right?
Uh-huh.
And so fast forward, I get a call from Butchie, and he says, "Hey, Griselle, we want to introduce Frankie Negron to this new record label called Wea Latina, and we want to do something different. We want to introduce him singing with two dancers and backup singers, and he's going to dance. So I
Hmm.
would like you to come, and see if this is something you want to do." And so when I get to the place, life goes full circle, right? I get to the place, the person they hired as the choreographer is ismaelotero. And
That's full
he-
circle. That's definitely full circle.
here we are reunited. I not thinking of dance at all still. I'm
Mhm.
just thinking this is another gig that's gonna come and go, and I'm gonna move on to my thing. Day one of practices, I became addicted. Day one of practices, I became more hungry. Day one of practices, I wanted to leave everything that I ever thought about. I wanted to leave it and just dance. It was like this injection of like this thing that I wanted, because the more I learned, the more I wanted to learn. And because it was coming so easy to me, I just became more hungry.
Mhm.
And let me tell you again, I'm a teenager. I'm going to high school now. 2 a.m. rehearsal. We're still rehearsing. My mom is okay with it because I was doing good in school. I was always good in school. And
Yeah.
so unless she saw me not doing well or falling asleep or, doing something wrong at school, she was okay,
Yeah. Yeah.
because my mom, her dream forever was to be a dancer, right?
Mm.
And she was a social dancer, and this is her passion. And so while she saw me starting to crave the same passion and doing, kind of going into the footsteps that she couldn't do, and I was doing it, she allowed me um, to continue. Fast forward, we're Latina, only signed Frankie, not his dancers.
Yeah.
And that was it. And that was it. So I um, I was so hungry that I continued, and I stood with Ismael. I
Mhm.
continue. And this is where Caribbean Soul is born.
Wow.
Caribbean Soul is born. And I used to go to Jersey City, Ismael Otero's sisters. First, it was Irene Otero, because Irene was, she's the older sister.
Mhm.
And what an amazing human being. Her energy was just so contagious. And I used to go there, and she would just teach me, the steps
Mhm.
that Ismael was doing. And so, I don't know if you know, but Ismael, both his sisters dance. Now his daughter dances, the whole
Yeah.
family, the whole family. And so that's how it kind of was born. Chesenia Peralta, whom is also another amazing dancer, his sister as well, was also part of the team, and we just created this amazing team where, how can I say, it was just full of fire. It was
Yeah.
full of just energy,
Mhm.
passion. There was, when I say zero technique, I don't mean it as far as like the dance. There was zero knowledge about technique, right?
Yeah.
We knew 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. We knew to go here, we knew to go there, and we were just so hungry. We did lifts and tricks with zero training from from a professional when it came to that.
Uh-huh.
My splits. I would do them flexed, because no one told me you can't. You have to point your foot. We
Yes, you're
only knew
learning.
to
You're
do
all learning to
right,
everything as
and
it
so
comes.
we were growing as we were learning, growing as we were learning, and that was it. It was it was just um, it was like I will tell you the best times in my dance career happened at the very beginning. That initial journey, um, it was so raw, it was so real. We were able to enjoy it. There was no worries about, well, my technique is not so good. It was just growing and learning, growing and learning, and that was it. And so that's how Caribbean Soul was born. That and this team, we went from a huge team to a small team, back to a huge team, back to a small team, and at all, Ismael used to have dance class with about 100 people
Wow.
on Fifth Street in Jersey City. About 100 people, no lie, and we all had to jump in and be teachers. Because we had to help.
Absolutely.
I had to learn teach people how to learn the Suzy Q and a right turn and here and there, but nothing. We didn't know anything. Israel was the man, is the man. But Ismael, had every people from all over. People came from Sayreville, from Jersey City, from Newark, from everywhere surrounding and far to take classes with him because that's what Caribbean Soul did at that time.
Yeah.
And that's how my dance career started. It took forever for me to tell you, but I had to share the journey, the very beginning. I
I
had, I
love
had
it.
no desire. Like when I say desired, I guess no vision. I had no idea that dancing, I say it to today, dancing chose me,
Hmm.
right? It chose me because the moment that it grabbed onto me and said, I'm not letting you go. I'm
Yeah.
not letting you go. That was it. And here we are still dancing. It's been an absolute blessing.
Absolutely. And just hearing your story, even going back, when you talked about yourself being like 12, 13 and moving here, for me and my family, because I was born here, but my aunt and my dad and my grandma, they were born in Puerto Rico and coming. And you're saying as well, like you're learning the English language. A quick story, my aunt was actually, I believe, the first Hispanic on Sesame Street back like when Ray Charles was on it. And and she was
Wow.
showing me videos, but she's learning the English language as she's on the show. So learning the correct way to say things in English when she still translates it in Spanish. And just to understand too, having family from Puerto Rico and they understand that when they're coming to the United States, even though it is a commonwealth and is related, they do see going to New York, New Jersey, wherever as a better life, more opportunity. And then seeing that your mom was so passionate about dance, and it wasn't that she was living her dream through you, but it just so happened first you were into modeling and then dance came into your life. So everything
Yes.
worked in unison and it wasn't forced. It was brought to you. And to see where you've come thus far, because my first sight of you was in Caribbean Soul. I believe you guys used to have the warehouse. There was like a warehouse, I believe. Yes,
Yes.
this is when I go way back because I started in
Yes.
'96 with David Melendez, and then he used to have us go to Jersey and perform for you guys at your socials. And I
Hmm.
remember it was little kids watching grown-ups dance, and we're sitting there just waiting to perform, but we're watching and
Yes.
understanding, what Caribbean soul to me, it means so much like when you say Santo Rico or Yamule or Carisma or any other school, especially in the tri state. Because what you guys did was honestly, in my eyes, legendary. Because seeing like when you guys would travel to California with Albert Torres, me going into YouTube and still seeing routines from 2001,
Yes.
2002, because you talked about Yesenia and Irene, but we're talking about Chachi, we're talking about Arelis, we're talking like
Yes.
it's Yesenia and all of you ladies mixed in as well with Ishmael and the other fellas as well, Guillermo Ayala and other people, realizing like you guys created something that was so organic because
That's right.
everybody assumes as dancers everyone's classically trained, but it's not. But you're giving us the honest truth of saying like, hey, I came into this having to learn. I didn't even take a class until I did worked with Ismael, a choreography for a routine with Frankie
Ever.
Negron. So
That's right.
my thing now is I really want to get to now with Caribbean Soul and that start point. What were the experiences like for you traveling? Because being from Jersey and now like literally traveling the world, what was that experience like?
Well, to be honest, I mean, our first travels were either tri-state or
Hmm.
then we went to DC and as far as Canada, right? So as far as
Hmm.
Canada, those were so amazing. We created such a bond. We created a family bond till
Yes.
today. And I tell you, those experiences are the ones that build me to the woman that I am today. You know, being able to meet the world from a different place, not just because I'm going to school here, I'm learning. No, because now I'm going to go see into new places, new countries, new um, not habits, but new traditions, right? New languages. It just gave me more hunger to, to continue to learn, to be honest, and to continue to grow. And so, my best experiences came from the travels. The It wasn't even the places,
Mm.
right? It wasn't even the places. It was the what we created. So, for
Yes.
example, we went to Canada, right? And one of the most memorable
It was a
uh,
guitar. Was it
trips.
a guitar?
No,
Oh, okay.
we're back to we're going back to masterpiece. Masterpiece is the routine that we are dressed in pink, that the
Mm.
guys smack the girls, then we turn around and smack the guys. We do the dirty dancing lift at the very beginning, right? That's masterpiece for you. Um, Going back to masterpiece, there's so many memories of that particular trip that I would never forget. So one, we were staying in this beautiful home. It was like a duplex where we were
Mhm.
all there. And Caribbean, so we were known for being rowdy, but not rude,
Okay.
right? We were rowdy, we were playful. The guys would try and beat the girls up, although they never won. Always girls beat the guys up. And that place, I remember us all staying for the first time in one place, right? Because we always, if we traveled, the girls were in one room, the guys in
Mhm.
another. But no, we are all now living together, right? For
Yeah.
this particular event. And the next memory of that is me dancing so much. I'm dancing with Guillermo, who happened to be my dance partner at the time, right? And I'm dancing with Guillermo. We're at this club. It's already possibly 3, 4 a.m. But I am dancing so much, and I don't know. I always say this, but I don't know if you know. But your next level of your best happens on the dance floor. It
Yeah.
doesn't happen in the class. It doesn't happen in the show. It happens while you're social dancing. Your next best level, because it's all about the confidence that you gain. And my confidence level, boy, was just growing in this social. And every dance that I was having, which is better than the one before, and just better.
Yeah.
And I was always about looking good in every aspect, right? So my shoes, I had tie-up shoes, and these shoes, I had to tie them all the way to my calves. And let me tell you, I'll never forget. By the end of the night, it looked like meat hanging because the strings were like cutting on my on my
Oh, my
legs.
circulation.
My feet were so swollen to the point where it was like, am I okay? Am I gonna die from this? This is horrible. I mean, it was so bad that even Guillermo, while dancing, his entire form were numb because we were just going,
Just
right? Just dancing. The music was so good. The environment was so good. So these are memories that I'll never forget. We created them, and and today, I cannot tell you, we create amazing memories, but not like it was in the past. In the past, it was so, to me, it was so real. Like we just wanted to go social dance, right?
Hmm.
It's not the same today. It's not the same. You
Yeah.
know, if we were, if the energy that we put into now trying to be better than the next person was instead into let's just have fun together, I think it would be totally different. I'm not saying there's something wrong with the scene, but I'm just saying it's different now. Also, I see things from a different place because I've been here for so long, right? So I've
Yeah.
been in the dance world for so long. And so we as artists also are not, yes, I'm going to say tired, right? So we are also tired because we, now the traveling, now we have other responsibilities in our
Yep.
lives, right? And now we get to the place. It's more of a okay, let's relax before we go out. Before it was like you drop your bags and you
Yep.
just
And you're
ran
just
to
going.
tech, social, just dance or go see the city, sightsee or whatever. Now it's different. Now you kind of calculate because you're thinking so much about what the next person thinks, or it's just different, right?
Hmm.
But those amazing memories, and that was I consider that the local travel.
Yeah.
Uh, when I graduated high school and graduated East Side, I went into Kane University here in New Jersey, and Ismael tells me, Gri, I was invited to Holland. And I said,
Mm.
I want to go. And he goes, okay. And so he said, I'm going to send an email. He sent the email, and guess what? They took us to Holland, and that was the first trip, and that trip changed everything.
Mm.
We get to Holland, we performed, I believe we performed both Masterpiece and Oyelo, and we get to Holland, and it was again meeting people. I met Super Mario there. Thomas from Santo Rico was,
Yeah.
was there, and I believe he took one partner. Was in the team. He took a partner, and outside of the social. So outside of the social, what was happening was exchange of wisdom, exchange
Mm.
of lessons. We were there, Ismael sharing with Super Mario, and I was the guinea pig. Yeah, yeah, I'll try it. I'll
Yeah.
do it. Yeah, yeah, me. Use me. And here comes Thomas and doing the same thing. I don't see nobody sharing today.
Mm.
Today I don't see anybody sharing. And this, I'm not comparing. I don't know why I even went that route, but I don't see no one sharing. I remember one day I was in LA and I saw Chesenia Peralta. I saw her do this move like
Yeah.
this. She's doing a Cuban star chart, right? And I'm like, she does it like the other girls, right? Like, Jesse, you got to show me how you do that. And it was simple Cuban, right? And the way she was doing it,
Yeah.
but we were learning, growing and learning, and we were hungry and we were asking and we didn't care, because we weren't in an era of YouTube where you can just go to YouTube and learn it.
Exactly. You had to go and
No,
travel to these shows to watch, and there were no
yes,
cameras allowed
no, the
during
big
these.
cameras that
The
were
big
like
ones
that
from the company,
huge.
but
That's
nobody was
right.
using their phones and like taking a peek at it.
And let me tell you, um, that those were my classes. My classes, I went from learning choreography to asking people, how do you do that? And exchanging, and they will ask me, Gri, how do you do that? And I'm like, oh, I think it's like this. To then starting to teach, getting thrown into the world of teaching. For the first couple of years of my teaching career, I want to say it was passion and fire and everything I thought it was. And I know that I wasn't teaching, wrong, but I know that I didn't know what I was doing.
Gotcha.
I just teaching moves because that's what I knew, right? I knew moves. Today, I teach people how to dance,
Yeah.
right?
And
I teach it's a whole different perspective.
yeah, it's for me, I think I can say it's the maturation. Because you can be honest and say, hey, at this point, I wasn't trained fully, and I had to learn. I had to learn the ropes. I had to go through the process. And like you said, 25 plus years later, to see where you are and to see the influence, it shows that people like Ismael, who took the time to help you, could help you understand. Like he said, you were going to be a future Mambo queen, which in many of our eyes you are. And I think also what people have to understand is what you're taught when you're saying about the scene isn't the same, that is true. Because coming from the people like yourself that we consider legends, you, Ishmael, Thomas, the people that I've talked to privately and personally, coming from myself that I'm just turning 30, but I've been in it
Baby.
I know, and I've been in it since I was 5. I saw it at a younger age, and I understand completely what you guys are saying, because I think it wasn't many of you, but it was some people who were teaching years ago that all they were doing was teaching steps. They weren't teaching education. So that was the thing that lacked. There was so many when the salsa scene started to blow up in the early 2000s, everybody had a school. Everybody was a teacher. But a lot of them didn't understand that in order to be a teacher, you have to have wisdom. You have to have knowledge. It doesn't take you 1 year to learn from classes and become a teacher. And to be honest, I've talked to Thomas about this, and I'm going to say it because it's in my heart. It's from my experience. I've seen it being done. Was when you were at these congresses and you started seeing Caribbean soul and you started seeing Santo Rico, Yamule, and people started bringing their cameras, personal stuff, and started recording it. There was a disparity between the respect and biting. There was literally yes, and some people can look at that and say, how so? Well, an easier way to understand is when you can go to one Congress and see a routine you guys did, and you go to another Congress and everybody knows this. We're backstage, either talking to them amongst our group or we're watching the people on stage. And then you're looking at and you're looking at it and you're like, that looks really familiar. Or like it's like in the movie Bring It On when you have the same song and it's looking like the same exact routine. And I've seen that. And in me younger, and I'm just watching, and I'm like, wow, like this really looks very similar. Oh, okay, maybe they had the same teacher. But no, going ahead, I'm realizing that again, I believe that the legends get the appreciation from the people that mean most to them. And the thing is, what happens is we have so many more dancers now that there's a big difference between the creativity and the determination. People really love to become quote unquote famous, but they don't understand the responsibility it takes to keep that. Because looking at a person like yourself, you did Caribbean soul, but then to see the trajectory of then when you moved on from that and then you started your solo career, when you started things like taima, when you started taima, and when you had the House of Dance, and when you did these different projects and realizing that your status started evolving because you were now seen as a female solo artist that really just kept going instead of falling back, because you noticed there was so many couple routines or companies, but having a female like yourself, don't get me wrong, there were many others, but in my eyes, you were one of those pioneers from the early mid 2000s that was really making a name because you started off with Caribbean soul. So you got that that notoriety, but then to then move on from that and to keep it going and keep it going. And then you work with Eddie Torres and stuff, that right there for me was like, man, this woman is special. So, I mean, I would love for you to kind of just elaborate on the solo career, the projects you have been doing, and how it's gotten you thus far now, presently.
Well, I'll tell you what, I grew out of Caribbean soul. Let's say I grew out of it, right? And that happens. And you need more. You need something else to motivate you, or you need something else to help you continue to grow. And not that it wasn't there in Caribbean soul. It was just that I grew out of it, just like anything else, right? And I started going ahead and I said, I'm going to start my own team. I had taima already. I had taima while I was in Caribbean Soul. It was like my side team.
Mm-hmm.
And then I continued to pursue taima. And after that, thank you, Julie. I love Julissa. I continued to do taima, Las Hijas del Trueno, which was a girls' team, starting from the youngest being 6 years old, which was Swanee, and the oldest being myself. I was the only adult there.
Mm-hmm.
And having to be a dance parent to all of them, and having to now, I'm no longer in this group where somebody is directing it, although Ismael gave me the lead way to do so much that I learned so much there.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm the director, right? I also run my dance studio at the time, which was Runway on 2.
Yes.
Runway for fashion, modeling, because it was a modeling and dance school, and on
Mm-hmm.
two, of course, for our onto dance style.
Mm.
And so I continue, but guess what? Now is the world of traveling. Puerto Rico Salsa Congress, started everything. Eli Rizari, had this vision, and today we are in all these events thanks to his vision, right?
Yes.
Because he created this, and then everyone else took a piece of it and made it
Mm-hmm.
worldwide, right? And so now they're inviting us, but now we're talking about a team. So they can't afford a team when you have one headliner, right? They
Yeah.
can't afford a team. And Taima wasn't a headliner. Caribbean Soul was, so they'll take a couple of couples. Taima was Griselle and Taima Las Hijas del Trueno,
Yes.
you know? And so although they wanted it, and many times we were hired and traveled as a team, for the most part, they wanted Griselle Ponce, right? And so they wanted me to go teach, and and so we would fundraise and do whatever it took to take the team. So I was kind of forced into this whole soloist career. You
Mm.
get me? Because now I cannot take my team. I
Yeah.
can afford it. They can't afford it. You have to perform, right? And so
Yeah.
now that's how kind of my soloist career began. A couple of friends of mine, like in the industry, colleagues like Gordon Neal will call me, gee, I want you to come over to Flavor event Invasion, and can you perform? And I'm like, can you bring the girls? No, can you perform? And I'm like, and so I'm telling you, dance, you know what? Dance has me. Dance has
Yeah.
really got me. Yeah, I am a slave to dance. For
Absolutely.
sure. Let me tell you. I'm gonna get to that comment right there. I started doing my soloist career not by choice,
Mm-hmm.
right? Not by choice. I would go and perform, but I loved it. I love connecting with people. And the connection for me begins in the eye, right?
Yes.
So if you see, when I'm on stage, I look at you, I look at everybody, and people are like, how you saw me, and I'm like, I'm looking, I'm not dancing to air, I'm here to connect with you, and that's what kept, like giving me the fire to continue, and it would build me right on the stage. It would
Mm-hmm.
build me, it would give me so much more, and thanks to that, that solo career, it took off, although it was the most challenging thing to do at the time because one, there was not many females
Yes.
solo. So if I recall correctly, the only other soloist out there was Melissa Rosado at the
Yep.
time that was I was doing solo. I know that Magna had just stopped finished working with Mark Anthony and over in Canada, and
Mm-hmm.
she kind of started going to teach places, but not as a soloist. Like she wasn't performing.
Yeah.
Yvette was not performing neither. So I was around that time. I was about the only, or if not, me and Melissa were around the only girls doing solos.
Yeah.
And so, guess what? Everyone decided. let's invite her just for fun, let's have fun, and now this is my career. I mean, so much that I told my parents I decided I'm gonna dance, and I stopped my school career. I stopped my education. It was a decision made based on my travel to Holland. When I came
Yes.
back, I said, "That's it. I'm gonna travel the world for a living." My father was like, "No,
No, you're
you
gonna.
gotta finish your education." My mom was like, "Bueno, mija, si tú quieres barrer el piso, pues bárrelo. No te
Yeah.
arrepientas. If you want to dance, dance. Just do not regret it. Make sure
Yes.
you know what you're doing." Because she trusts me. She trusts my decisions, and she knew that, I would take it somewhere.
Yeah. And
And so now this is my career. So you cannot invite me for fun.
you
You
gotta pay.
understand? Yes. And so from the very beginning, I got, "Oh, well, you're too expensive. Oh, this girl will do it for this much." And I'm like, "Then you hire her. When you
Yes.
can afford me, just call me." And we still Gucci,
Ex-
we still good. But, you know, those were my struggles in
yeah.
the very beginning. And then the indecent proposals, let's call them, right? The ones I was not staying on nobody's house. You had to be my super best friend in order for me to even consider it. But not, and I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that, because I know that as we were all growing in the dance community, we didn't have the money to bring the artists that we wanted to
Yeah.
bring. But I'm by myself now. I don't have Ismael to protect me anymore,
Yeah.
or all the guys in the team to protect me. I got me, myself, and of course my higher power, my God, that I know is always right by me. But I needed to work, because I
Yeah.
never, since the moment I stopped working for television, I never got another job. Dance has been my career, my only source of income, from the very beginning. And
Hmm.
so the struggles were those, the pay, then comes the traveling alone,
Yeah.
then comes, the being in places, and not being with a group of people. I mean, I was with my colleagues and everything, but it wasn't the same. There was
Yeah.
no team with me, right? And so those were extremely challenging times when it comes, to having the solo career. And then, you know, a team is much easier to get a standing ovation than with one person. I mean, it
Yeah.
takes a bunch of people to impress you. It got to take just me to
Yep.
impress all of you. So that's pressure on its own. And I still consider myself a more of a natural dancer. Um, I've learned technique throughout the years, and I continue to grow and work on myself. But I am the dancer that this is you're gonna get what I'm gonna give you, and that's what it's supposed to be. Like when I get on that stage, I do my 100%. If something goes wrong, I don't beat myself in in the butt and say, "Oh man, how dare me?" Like how can no, because that's how it was supposed to be. When I had my team, I didn't allow nobody to be crying after the show. No, the
No.
time to fix that is in the next rehearsal. Now
Absolutely.
you know you messed up in rehearsal, because what you do, no matter what you do in rehearsal is what happens on that stage, right?
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
every time I felt like I gave, you know, less than I always give myself 70%, 70, not 80, not 90, not 100. If I do less than 70%, something wrong. I got to go back to the drawing board, right?
Hmm.
There's no such thing as perfect. As great as a show can be, for me, there's no such thing as perfect
Hmm.
show. Even, you know, so definitely those were the challenges. And then now reading this, the OG Diva, thank you so much for keeping your feminine and sexy styling. And that was the next thing,
Hmm.
keeping the integrity of the dance, right?
Yes.
Traditional, keeping the basics, the fundamentals, keeping my philosophy of a woman to be feminine, right? And nothing wrong with being strong, because I was a powerful horse on that stage, right? But
Yeah.
with this feminine flair, right? I was
Hmm.
always. And so, that also right there is tough, because I'm competing against a Frankie Martinez solo. You know, these are like the solos that,
Yeah.
that you're talking about, like strong shows, powerful shows versus more lady, more, more feminine, and without going into being vulgar, without going having to, being extra, showing my whole body. Although I have worn skimpy stuff, like really small
Yeah.
stuff in the past, but without having, at the time I didn't think, I'm not doing it to show the body. It was just like, this is beautiful costume. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And yeah, those are definitely challenging times. I have to go back, and you mentioned Santo Rico, you mentioned, David Melendez, you mentioned, let's talk about Thomas. So you all you probably don't even know, right? So there was a time, I used to run my dance studio and modeling school, and I also
Hmm.
invited Thomas to perform in one of my shows, right? Because after I had left Caribbean Soul, I I embarked into a career with going into Santo Rico. So nobody
Mm.
knows that I was in Santo Rico for a little bit of time. I went to Santo Rico and I was working with Thomas and the team. Kimberly Flores was there with me. And so who else was there? Smiling David,
Mm.
Victor Charisma. And let me tell you, it was such an amazing time. That was a whole different, world for me, because now I'm going into different technique.
Yeah.
Remember, I don't come from a place of dance classes. I came from a place where I was learning how to do choreography, etc. Now and then, Thomas is like this,
He's the two and the
right?
six, the two and the six, the
Don't mess with
timing,
time. You better be on time for that rehearsal. You better
oh
work
yes.
on your spins. And you better take it in, absorb, and just do, right?
Yeah.
And so later on, that was short lived, because I was still doing my career. It didn't work out for me to go to
Yeah.
New York. Well, but later on, we did the Celia Cruz tribute, which actually that video just came up not too long ago.
Mm.
Um, and I get to partner up with the legend himself, Thomas. I tell you honestly, it that marked as it's marked in my book as one of the best performances I felt I have done. I love the energy of working with Thomas. I love, that little piece. We just came in,
Hmm.
but it just
Yeah.
felt he made me feel like I could fly. Like I was flying. And I always say about when I am dancing like hustle, like I don't know
Hmm.
how to dance hustle. I pretend I know how to dance hustle, but anytime I'm dancing, I am the queen of the dance floor. I that video was Tommy feel like I was the queen of the dance floor. He made me fly. I just felt so amazing. And seeing the show not that long ago, Desiree sent it to me on WhatsApp,
Yeah.
and because I just recently posted, it was so beautiful. It brought back such amazing memories. So thank you, Thomas, for that experience. It's absolutely an unforgettable one. And of course, thank you to David Melendez, and who is forever our dance, you know, dad, and who made that happen, made that possible.
Absolutely. And for me to understand your solo career much more than what I did when I was younger, and understanding that, whether moving on or outgrowing, you realize there was a larger purpose for you. And realizing, especially with your solo career, there were challenges because you created your own personal group, and but also realized with organizers and promoters, they were still focused on their bottom line, even though it didn't
Right.
align with what your passion was, and you had to balance that.
Yep.
For me, I definitely realized how much of an impact the salsa scene directly has had on you, and seeing you traveling the world, seeing how many just people in your classes can smile and feel a sense of just confidence when they dance, especially women who take your styling classes, is amazing. And then even knowing further that you were working with Thomas in Santo Rico, but also then working with the Celia Cruz tribute, because Celia Cruz's impact in music history is legendary. So to have a woman like yourself that people see in that high regard, and then put in that position of you have to now, you're paying tribute to Celia. Whatever work is coming out, this is, you're on the spotlight. You're there. This is your moment. So I think again, everything happens full circle, and I'm definitely thankful to see that as of recent years. I don't even know if you remember this because we're actually almost, we got about two more topics or one or two more topics I want to bring up briefly. But a quick story was, I think about 4 years ago, 3 years ago, I actually interviewed you with my phone when I was doing a thing called Latin Chronicles. This was in the
Yeah.
back of Dance Sport. And I remember I caught you right after you performed just to talk to you about what you've been doing and to realize that we're at this point and I have this moment just to listen to you with no, dance distractions of people coming inside the room, just literally having you here is special because even seeing these comments of, even Julie saying, even having, Naomi Wilson, realizing you mean so much to so many people. And then in this day and age, what we're going through with COVID, realizing that, a lot of us are not in the classes. We can't physically see people. And even yourself, you now have a business. You have the Latin Flavor in Jersey, your own restaurant, and realizing the challenges that have with that, you having your own business and still doing dancing. You've been dancing for a couple of years now with Baldelia Rivera, a very, very good friend of mine. And I love the connection you guys have. And I would used to watch your videos constantly when they were in person, at least definitely during last year. And just seeing you guys both bring that fire, that fierceness, that energy, the genuineness, and realizing that you don't have to be someone you're not. You can be yourself,
Mm.
have a great time. And I love is that now you're bringing back these online classes because we realize right now people are just fiending for some more Griselle and being able to see you now bring your love and your passion online so everybody can enjoy is amazing. I mean, for me, I would love for you to kind of elaborate on now your business of Latin Flavor.
Wow. First, I want to acknowledge and say hi to Naomi. And yes, Naomi, thank you. I remember the House of Dance. I was in a, it was a period in my life where the studio was my life. I would get there at whatever time I got there, and I never had an exit. Like, it was just, I was there until I was there.
Yeah.
you know, at 1 in the morning, 2 in the morning, we did class, we did everything, and then we would just talk and just connect, and the online classes started back when I was at the House of Dance.
Mm-hmm.
I invited El Maestro in Torres to do an online dance studio with me, and we had the House of Dance online.
Mm.
Yes, we did. It was a little short lived. The person that created the platform for us, it wasn't like today.
Yeah.
Um, Created a very unique platform that only he could update
Yeah.
and
Absolutely.
fix. And so then he got so good at everything that he was doing, and he got bigger and bigger clients. And then little Brie was no longer the client he needed, and so then after that, the online dance studio just kind of like went down.
Mm-hmm.
So that ended shortly as well. But we started the online dance lessons back in 2000. I want to say 2010,
Mm.
2011. And I have to. I know that we fast forward to the pandemic, but I have to talk about my trajectory as I went from Caribbean Soul to having my own dance team to then I did a lot of collaborations with amazing artists like Jason Molina. I traveled the world with both Jason, with Andy Cruz. I did the collaboration with Thomas. I collaborated with so many amazing dancers. Just like here and there I get a call, Gri, I'm invited to this place. Would you like to come? We'll put
Yeah.
something together and do it. I only trusted a couple of people to do that with, and those were like Jason Molina. Anytime he called me, I was there.
Hmm.
And Jason Molina would. The reason I loved it, I tell you, is because he would push me. I had to learn one or two routines the same day or the day before and perform them.
I remember
And
those
that
times. Like you just
and that's the type of learning I like to do. Challenge me, you know. And so when it came to when it came to dance and partners, Eddie Torres, me having the opportunity to perform with Eddie Torres is like it's still unbelievable. I'm
yeah.
still, um, crazy for me, right? So I tell you how it came about. He, in one of the congresses, invited me. I want you to be a part of, of this dance show I'm doing, and he said one day I'm gonna dance with you, right? And he invited me to a rehearsal. Now this is Eddie Torres. At the
Yeah.
time, he had the Eddie Torres dancer.
Mm.
I go to New York. My remember I grew out of how I say I grew out of Caribbeansoul, and then I went to that rehearsal and I looked, I walked right out.
Wow.
Now I tell you why. It could have been I wasn't ready. It could have been I was scared. It could have been whatever it was, but I walked out. The energy, I didn't stay there. I didn't.
Hmm.
I went back. And then the next time I saw Eddie, I said, I'm sorry, Eddie, the transportation didn't work out. Then on another time, he said, he says to me, there's this event I'm doing with Alfredo de la Fe. Come through. I want you to be a part of it. Another
Hmm.
one more time. I go. I see everybody. I see Alfredo de la Fe. I say hello to people. And just the same way I walked in and I swayed my way around people, I left again. So I'm a big believer of energy and what's for you is for you. And that was not my time. There's
Hmm.
time and place for everything. That was not my time. Comes 2009, and I'm doing the um, Salsa Open. I'm
Yes.
running the Salsa Open for New York, New Jersey. I'm directing that and sending the winners to Puerto Rico. I'm like, first of all, by this time, now I have been dancing how many years? 96. We're talking about 95, 96.
So we're talking
Now we're
about
talking about
13 years, about 13 years.
later. I have never stepped a foot in Eddie Torres' class. Okay? It's something nobody knows. I've never stepped a foot in Eddie Torres' class. Not because I didn't want to. I was just so
Yeah.
loyal to Smile, and then we were just so busy, and we just kept going, right? And I go to Eddie Torres' class with one purpose. I
Hmm.
want to invite Eddie to be a judge in my competition.
Yeah.
And so I go to the class. He puts me right in front of him, and he showed up that day. Did he show off? He was just going. He
Yeah.
was like, let me see if you got this. And I was in, I was getting it. Every step he did, I got. Every step, everything he did, I just got it because for me, my brain was a sponge at that moment, especially you challenging me. And I'm on the spot because it's a whole entire classroom, and he brought me right to the front. So I
Yeah.
have no choice but to show up. He does that. I had the best class of my life, you know, there. And then I go to Eddie and I said, Eddie, I came here because I want to see if you could be a judge in my competition. He said, I would do it with only one condition. I
Mm.
said, okay, okay, what is it? He says that you and I dance on stage one time. So remember, I kind of like shut him down twice. That didn't
Yeah.
work
This was
really,
like, this is the last.
right? So I truly, I'm also funny when it comes to funny. I'm not funny sometimes, but I turned around and said, let me think about it. I said, of course, of course. And my career, I was already Griselle Ponce.
Hmm.
I, thanks to my maestro, who's right there, ismaelotero, yes, who always gave me the respect for everyone to know who Griselle Ponce was.
Yeah.
And he's always done that, you know. I have never, you will never hear me say my dancers, right? You will hear me say uh, X person, right? Like, for example, would be Padulio Rivera, who dances in my dance company.
Hmm.
And, you know, but not my dancers. Everybody has a name. And I learned that from Ismaelotero. He always gave me that respect, my name, and everybody knew me. I was already Grisette Ponce traveling the world as a soloist. I had already traveled with Ismael everywhere and with the other dancers I collaborated with. And now Eddie, right? I come into we first rehearsal, we connected, so amazing. That same day we finished one routine, which was Kokoye. He
Hmm.
started throwing things at me. Eddie is the type of, you know, like teacher that he is testing you but teaching you at the
Mm.
same time. He's just throwing things at me to see where in his mind, I think, in his mind, he's just trying to see which way do I go with Christian, right? So let me throw you
Yeah.
a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of this. And my career, me, my mindset, everything grew when I started dancing with Eddie
Hmm.
because now I became a more mature dancer, a more aware dancer, a more when I say knowledge, it's not because I didn't have it, but because now I was open to receiving it. Right.
Yeah.
My favorite quote is, "The teacher appears when the student is ready." Right. So I was ready for that. That I was ready for Eddie at the time. So at that time, this is why it never happened before. You know, it
Mm.
happened now. And so for that, of course, I always thank Ismael. And for that, I think my experiences with everybody else. And when I get to Eddie, now I'm more aware dancer where I can absorb everything he has to teach me. You know, I learned from Eddie humility. When I say humility, I mean to be more humble,
Hmm.
to be more present, there was a time in my career where I kind of probably lost vision when it came to being present because I was so focused on the next thing or going places or
Yeah.
traveling or getting home or being tired. And you could have said, Gri, your hair is falling. And I would be like, okay, thank you, you know,
Yeah.
because I didn't even listen to what you said. I just responded automatic. You know, I was on auto. And with Eddie, I'm now no longer in auto. Now I'm more present, you know? And
Hmm.
so I have to, you know, I had to. Sorry, I before
No, no, no,
to
not
speak
not at all, not at all.
on that connection. And yes, and Ismael definitely pointed out. You know, we got to dance for, you know, President Obama. We got to do so many, you know, meet so many great people and do things that today us,
Mm.
you, Diamond, you, and all of these dancers have done things in a short period of time in their life that a person in their entire life would never achieve. Do you understand that? We've done so many things, right, in our life that somebody who has an entire life to live, I'm not saying that, you know, but would not even think of, imagine to get to a quarter of that, you
Yeah.
know? So we are so blessed. We
Yeah.
are so blessed. And anyone that is not in the dance community, anyone that is not in the dance community does not understand that.
No, they
You know,
don't.
most people say, "Oh, you're a dancer. Oh, that's cute."
I know.
Most people, "Oh, you're a dancer, right?" But they don't know, you know, how many people we get to touch, how many lives we get to, you know, to change, how many people save an entire year just to be able to see you and be with you. You
Yeah.
know, how many people I could be eating with my mouth open like that, and maestra, una foto, and I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Let me put that down. Let me take a
yeah,
photo because you
and
understand the responsibility that comes with your fame.
at first it was like, can I eat in peace? In my mind, I never said that, but in my mind it was there.
Hmm.
Can I just eat in peace? But then when I realized, and I cannot remember today who told me that, they said, I'm almost sure it was Eddie. You know, this is their only. They only have this one shot to take this picture with you. This one shot.
Hmm.
You know, this one moment with you. And we are reachable versus other celebrities, right? Because we are celebrities in our world. But a J-Lo you cannot reach. You don't get a chance to do that photo. A Beyonce, blah blah blah. But we are the celebrities without the bodyguards. We are the reachable ones, and
Mhm.
these people, we are who we are because of our fans and the people that love us and that allow us to continue this journey, which is to share ourselves, our love and the passion of dance with the world.
Yeah.
And so, that's the humility that I got and that who I am today. And I want to say through my journey, and I have to thank el maestro Editores because he is the epitome of humble.
Absolutely. And again, it's the people that you've learned from that have given you the best lessons because honestly, experience is the best teacher of life. And you realize all the people that come in and out of your life, they mean something at that moment or throughout your life, just presently. And at least for me, this is a question that Martin Rivera Baldera has. He says, Griselle, blessings to you and blessings to Diamond. My question, everyone from musicians, dancers, DJs to dance instructors and club owners are attempting to process the shock of this pandemic, alternating between feelings of acceptance, hope, and inevitable predictions of doom. From your most transparent, most honest perspective, what is your mindset presently at this moment with everything going on?
Right this second is I'm teary. My eyes are teary. Uh, Yesterday, I saw my great friend Jane post a video of a celebration of her birthday, and I saw Papote Jimenez singing in the park or somewhere outside, and I saw a big jar for people to put money in, and that just tore my heart.
Mhm.
It tore my heart. It gets me teary, and this is from my heart. I am blessed that I have this business. I'm blessed that I have the support of my family. I'm blessed that that I'm able to continue, even if it wasn't dance, that I'm able to at least run this business and make a living, right?
Yeah.
But what about my dance colleagues that only dance? What about those that have struggled to come here, move their entire life because I wouldn't have done it? They moved from their countries, came here, no place to live, just, with this ambition, this aspiration. What about them?
Yeah.
Now all they do is dance and all they know is dance. And let me tell you, some people are making good with dance classes online, but they're not, you cannot make a living with it right now unless
Yeah.
you have the ultimate, network of people, because people are also don't have money to pay for the dancing classes.
Yes.
And then you're underselling yourself. You're selling yourself for, for little money so that you're not a competition with somebody else and you at least get some people.
Hmm.
I don't know how people are doing it. I mean, I don't know. And that breaks my heart. I see, my great friend Ava Apple from, San Fran closing her dance studio. I just say we need to continue to pray. We need to
Hmm.
continue to support each other.
Yes.
Share everybody's classes. I have to thank my one of my dear friends, Cookie, who's also in my dance company. Yesterday somebody said I want to dance, and she she suggested my dance class, to the student, and that's that right there is support,
Yes.
right? That is supporting each other, and we need to continue to do that. Yes, the struggle is real. The today I had a live with my aunt, and a lot of you don't know Yolanda Rivera. I was live. I was at the park. I was doing my run, and then
Yeah.
I saw her, and I said, "Titi, come on live with me." It was so real. She went on live and told everybody I need to lose weight.
Oh my
And
lord.
she was like, "No, negrita, te tienes que poner linda. I don't want to see you in black." But anyway, that's like, like that's the
Yeah.
story of it. Go look at my Facebook live,
Yeah.
my chat with my aunt. But I see my aunt. She had to leave Puerto Rico. She moved to Pennsylvania now. And, she's so humble. She's comfortable where she was showing me her beautiful little shack, let's call it,
Yeah.
right? Like she was just proud of it. Look, I got the key. this is talent. This is like world's best talent.
Yeah.
This is what they know to do. This is what people are are sanity. This is what they do because they love it, because they love sharing themselves, and because they have left their families because looking for this dream, and now this dream cannot be lived the same way they thought they could.
Yeah.
It hurts. It hurts me. You know, I'm blessed. I'm able to run this business, and I can have a business that runs not at 100% of the profit that it would have, but I'm
Hmm.
still able to feed my family and feed at least 15 families out of this
Yeah.
because I have 15 employees. I can help 15 families, not just my own. But there's so many people that can't do that. So, from my heart, I pray every night for every single one of my colleagues, for every single one of my friends, that we can find a way, right? That we can find a way, and we have to. We have to find a way, because there's been so many people resorting to, okay, let me get a job, but there's also not
Hmm.
so many jobs out there, right?
Yeah.
I know people that have gotten sick that they have started GoFundMe's so that they can, not just go to pay their hospital bills, but also for to be able to continue to live and eat.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. It is true because, like you're saying, even a person like yourself that has a business, but ultimately you care for the people, you care for your community, you care for your colleagues. Because again, even though it's you helping others that you know personally, there's so many people in this world that go through stuff. And to see the humility in yourself and that you think about others before yourself at times, especially now, it means so much because, again, this is why I have this platform because I want to show the audience and myself that there is so much more than just the person I loved on stage. There's a human being that cares for people. And for me, it's like one of the last things I really want to touch upon was I saw a change in you, especially when you became a mother. I saw that the maturation was at an all-time high. The glow from you was amazing. The smile was radiant at its highest. And realizing I saw once you became a mom, even when you were dancing, it was like a lioness in my sense. It was like that woman is fully unleashed. She fully knows herself. She is comfortable. She loves herself. And now she has a son that she's instilling that same determination and pride in.
Yeah, that my son is the best thing that has happened to me, and that could sound cliche, but he's the best thing that has happened to me. And he happened at the perfect time. I
Hmm.
traveled the world. I've done dance, my entire life, right? And now I get this beautiful human, this little piece of human that it's a part of me to 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 life.
Yeah.
And I tell you, my son, he teaches me the biggest lessons in life. He teaches me every lesson you can imagine. Any lesson that I probably, overlooked, he teaches me them, you know. I'm super blessed. He's such a great boy. He's 3 going on 25, by the way. Uh, after this, I will post him yesterday. He was playing his guitar, his
Mm.
atar, mama atar. He called it atar. And you've got to see him. He was like this emotion expression in his face. I didn't teach him that.
Yeah.
He just happened, right? He just happened. He just did it. And you know, when you say that you saw a different, light, a different shine, a different smile, because before my son, my career was being fulfilled. When I had my son, my life is now being fulfilled.
Yeah.
That's the difference. My life. And um, what can I say? I mean, it speaking about my son is it just also gets me teary eyed because for a while I thought I couldn't have children,
Hmm.
but that's in the past. That
Yeah.
obviously is not real. And I have this amazing human being, that I have to make sure that everything I do it because he's
Hmm.
not just listening, he's watching.
Yeah.
And everything I have done in my life until today and continue to do has to be with a purpose and for him.
Hmm.
He at one time I stopped dancing. I thought I should stop dancing because I've danced my entire life, and I was trying to have him. I was trying to create a family. And that was the wrong thing. I'm glad that I woke up from that. And if it took me over 25 years to do what I do and I love it and I enjoy it, why would I drop it? Why
Yeah.
would I just stop? Because I have a kid or because of a man, or when what I've done it with a purpose. And today, right? Today, there's so much more for me to do, right? Because we speak about legends, etc. I don't consider myself no legend, right?
Hmm.
But I tell you what, 50 years from today, 100 years from today, somebody's gonna know who Griselle Ponce is or
Absolutely.
what, right? But it's not for me anymore. It's a
Hmm.
legacy for my son. It's because,
Yes.
all the sacrifice and all of this that I have done in my life. Let me tell you about sacrifice. I have a very small family. I have a brother who has two children who I saw grow up, who I saw born, and then I didn't see grow up because I was focused on my dance career.
Yes.
I was focused. Through all those years, I missed out on my mom's birthday. I missed out on my brother's birthdays. I missed out on communions. I missed out on life events that today, they come back to me and say, well, you weren't here. But guess what? There was a purpose. I was doing this. I was working on my career for a
Hmm.
reason. And not, I didn't leave my family behind, but those are the sacrifices that we have to do. I love my family to death. This is me. Family is everything for me. Family is number one, you
Hmm.
know. But at the time, I was building my career, and those are when you talk about sacrifices, forget everything else. Forget the lack of sleep. Forget for me, my biggest sacrifice was my family, not being close to my family. We're so small, you know. You always see my mom right here
Yeah.
next to me. She's not here right now because she's taking care of the baby.
Gotcha.
But that's how it is, and and through the years, until my family understood a little bit, it was like, oh, you choose your career over family. And it wasn't, I didn't choose my career with my family. I was creating a legacy or building and
Hmm.
doing what I love because there's a reason for it. If I just stopped today, then I I would be ashamed. I did all that and sacrificed my family for nothing to just let it go. No way. No way. So I will continue until the day I can't continue anymore. Bottom line.
Absolutely.
That is how I said it. My one of the biggest inspirations is in maestro. He is still dancing, and if I could, I would. I will. I danced till I was to the day they said you no longer can stand. We gotta lay you in the bed to have my baby.
Yeah.
But let me have one dance. Let me have one dance, please. And I had my one dance before I couldn't dance until my baby was born. I will dance until the end.
Oh man, I appreciate that hearing that from a person like yourself because again, you've been through so much in your life, and now entering in for the last 3 years being a mom, and how that's just opened your eyes to so much that you've learned, but so much you still have to learn because now being a mother
So much.
entails so much. And for me, like this kind of goes into the last segment. I always ask a lot of my guests to leave a last few words that you want to give to the audience. But at least before then, we do have a question that entails the same object that I'm going in. It's from Rosita, from Rosie.
Hi, Rosita.
Yeah, she says, so much love and respect for you, Gri, forever my Mambo Diva. You have started to become a voice for the culture in New Jersey. Any future in politics? And also, with that same question, Jane also asks, Griselle, what is your vision for the future and where do you see yourself? So you can kind of tie those two questions into one. But, she asks Rose about politics or advocacy. But again, what is really your vision for the future?
I am community. Let's call that. Let's say it like that. I am community. I am a commissioner for the Hispanic Commission here in Newark, New Jersey. I am also part of the board of the Puerto Rican Day Parade. I'm an executive, in the board, and I'm also an executive in the Tainas Unidas
Mhm.
board, which is, you know, all nonprofit organizations. I'm also working with another nonprofit organization called Amor to create more opportunities for younger kids, for kids uh, in the arts, and hopefully have my own building and
Mhm.
an art school, if not a charter school that only, that's only for the arts. So I'm community. I'm about the community since day one. Since I ever started, most of my dancers in my dance company didn't pay a cent to be a part of my dance company. They came, and if the parents maybe paid, an enrollment fee, but then after that, if they couldn't, I just say, bring them on, bring them on, bring them on.
Mhm.
And it wasn't about the financial; it was just about the being able to continue that education because they wanted it. And when it comes to anything as far as like politics, it's so funny because the other day I had a conversation with my boyfriend and I said, well, it's not politics, he said, it's politics. And I get it. I totally get it. I just like to call it community.
Oh my God.
I like to call it community. I am because I am more about my people. and
Yes.
I and here within the community of North, where I can be a voice and a face, I will do what I can, whether it's feed the homeless or feed the people that can afford it right now. Through this pandemic, I was able to feed at least 10 people a day, 10 different families a day for about 3 months. Also help with first responders. And, like I'm speaking about what I have done, but what I will continue to do is be a voice and be a help, for my community and those that need it. Because there's so many people that don't know, that they do have, they can reach, they have an
Mhm.
outreach that they can speak to people that can help them. The other day, it just comes to me, older gentlemen, and I don't know how to apply for Social Security. Can you help me? Things
Yeah.
like that because they get sent to me because they know I'm part of, I'm working with the mayor here of Newark and I'm, as a commissioner. And so it is my duty today to help, the community. And that's
Yeah.
why I say I am community and anything that I can do and any voice that I can be, I will be and continue. Now, any future in that in that world, I will say I am continuing to educate myself and learn more so that I could be a better voice.
Yes. I definitely I would love for you in any way, like you are doing so much for your community in Newark. I mean, even Rosie proposing that question, that's definitely not far fetched. That's something I could see you doing, but again, on your time.
Right.
No one, you can have that opportunity, but it's up to you to use that time because again, if you go into that world, it's a whole different world, so much more time consuming. But what you're doing so far is amazing. And I'm
Thank
again,
you.
I'm so thankful that we could have this moment because like you said, with history, 50, 100 years from now, people will know who Grisel is. In my opinion, the legacy is left, and also you have documentation of videos that you've done, hundreds of different demos, performances, but also now having an interview like this means so much because when we think about interviews, it's always like a person I haven't met before just coming and they just want to know me. But then knowing a person like myself, that has seen you grow from the beginning from afar, and just here really just appreciating you, what you've done in the past, the present, and knowing what you're doing towards the future. I mean, I feel much more connected. And for me, it's like as a videographer now, and I've told you before, but again, when we do get things a lot better, I'm personally offering my services to you for free, because for me, it's money comes and goes, but I now want to focus on working with people that I know are doing right by their community. It's not just about making a quick buck anymore. It's really like, hey, you want to do stuff that's going to mean something, that's going to be meaningful. So for me, to have you talk about your beginnings, to have you talk about Caribbean Soul, to have you talk about your solo career and being a mom and your experiences in life, and literally just people are just constantly commenting and learning about you. This is why I do it. To see the emotion from you, this is why I do it. And to know that, to have this opportunity now to just see you, even though we can't see each other face to face. But again, you're right now, you're in your job. You're in your job right now. And I know you're doing so much work. And again, I appreciate you so much, Griselle, for coming on tonight. And like I tell all of my guests, this is our first interview, but I would love to have you back on in the future later this year to get an update on what Griselle is doing, her online classes, and so much more. Because again, it's just not a one and done for me. I just love to update and do a checkup on the people that I care about.
Absolutely. I would love to be back. Thank you so much. I totally, like, I'm really grateful. I'm honored to be able to share my story the way I have shared it. I usually don't, as I told you before, I usually don't know how to talk about myself. I know how to talk about my experiences and what I have done, but about myself, and, it's just not easy. But I felt very comfortable with you, and knowing that all the people that have been writing, I know you all, and you love me, and I love you so much for always supporting me and my career and everything I have done, from all my struggles, through life, and within dance, and what you've seen and not seen. I know you're still there for me, and I appreciate you all for it. Um, if I have to say anything to close the interview, my biggest, um, let's call it, uh, realization today,
Hmm.
literally today, was, and has been and will be, it's never too late to do anything.
Hmm.
You're never too old. You're never too old. And I have had many dreams that I kind of pushed to the side, or vision, and I kind of pushed to the side, and I said, as I get older, it's less reachable, it's less, it seems less possible to attain. And today, I realize that you're never too old to do what you set out to do, or what your purpose is in life. And so, whatever it is, just start today, right? So, it's never too late to achieve anything. Most people think that you have to be successful before by 30. If
Hmm.
after 30s, then you just got to resort to living, getting married, having a regular, life. And no, most people, and this is fact, have become successful and have started anything after they're 40, right? I'm 41 today, and I realized
Oh,
that today. I realized that
congratulations.
it's never too late to continue to achieve your dreams. And remember, dancing has just been my purpose.
Hmm.
Dancing has been my passion, and but I have so much more to give.
Yeah.
And thank you, Rosita, for bringing that to light, and for those questions, and whether it is politics, or whether it is just being a mentor, to continuing to be a mentor in a different place. But it's never too late to start anything. That's right, never. So keep that in mind. And notice, I didn't start my dance career when I was a baby, when I was
Yeah.
a little girl. I started when I was 15 years old. I started
Yeah.
dancing salsa, and look, where it's gotten me today. And although too many has, it's not much, but to us, we know how much it means,
Yes.
and what we have done and accomplished. So yes, go ahead and go for your dream. Go ahead and, get good at it. So the one thing is, do not wish for something you're not prepared
Mm.
for, right? So get prepared for what you want, you know? So you can't want to be an NBA player and be playing baseball. You
Yeah.
can't be, you need to focus on what it is that you need to focus on to achieve what you need to achieve. And that's my last word. And stay humble, stay safe, please stay safe, and whatever we can do as a community to help, you know, all of our, dancers that are struggling today, whether it is with food, and do not, please do not be too big head to say, oh, I need something. No, if you need something, just say it, you know.
Yeah.
We're never that good, that we don't need anything. Whatever we need to, you need to voice it so that we can have, allow or connect you to the resources that you need to be connected in order to get the help.
Absolutely. And
That's it.
no, man, I love it. And absolutely. But right before we go, how can the audience and the people watching, how can they contact you or learn about what new classes you're doing and etc.?
Well, very simple. Griselle Ponce in all the platforms.
That's
Griselle Ponce. Facebook, Griselle Ponce. Instagram, Griselle Ponce. Twitter, Griselle Ponce.
yeah. I love it. Honestly, again,
Yeah.
because I love people to understand that even when I have these people on the platform, I want people to understand them and can see what the work that they're doing that I'm seeing. And again, throughout the days, any new work you have, I'll be there sharing it as well for myself and for the community and for you. Because again, like you said, it's about support. Supporting our community is doing more than just words. You have to put those words into action. And
Yep.
again, I'm blessed that we can have this type of discussion, and hopefully in the future we can all reunite. And again, I want you to stay safe out there in Jersey. Many blessings to you, your family, and your businesses. I know you're doing amazing things and will continue to. I thank
Thank you.
you. I thank the audience. And again, Griselle, I want you to stay safe and have a beautiful night and a great rest of your week.
Thank you, you too, and everyone watching. Thank you so much. I really, really do, from the bottom of my heart, love you all. You have given me so much energy to continue to do everything that I do, and I will continue. So I love you. Thank you so much. Take care, and
Absolutely.
great job, Diamond, with all these interviews. I'm so proud of you as well, and
Thank
I
you.
look forward to doing it again.
Absolutely. Thank you again, everyone. And we will see you next time. Have a great night.